Stephen Gasquet with the National Association of Realtors. How big has online commerce become? Well, the federal government estimates that in the first quarter of 2014, $73 billion changed hands in online transactions. That makes it clear electronic commerce is integral to the U.S. economy. And that's why the U.S. Department of Justice joined in a lawsuit last year that could have major implications for realtors, home buyers, and home sellers. The lawsuit was against national tax preparation company H&R Block, one of several cases in which companies are being charged with violating the Americans with Disabilities Act, or ADA. The complaints allege their websites and mobile applications are not accessible to people with visual or hearing impairments. A few months ago, H&R Block settled the case and agreed to make its website more accessible. Why is this important to you? Because since that case, the Department of Justice is preparing rules that could affect your website too. Rules that say what you have to do to make photos, virtual tours, and other website content accessible to persons with disabilities. Realtor magazine last week sat down with Tom Keary, an attorney who's been following the website accessibility issue closely. He says there are steps you can take right now to be ahead of the game, if and when all commercial websites have to be ADA compliant.
The Department of Justice, when it issued its advance notice of proposed rulemaking back in 2010, identified 5 barriers to website accessibility. And these are websites that don't allow for a change in font size. Next would be websites that rely heavily upon images without captions. Another barrier would be websites that rely heavily upon video without captions also. Another barrier is websites that don't allow for an extension of time. And a final barrier is a device called CAPTCHA. And this would be a test, for example, that would use distorted letters, a combination of distorted letters and words, and you're asked to retype those letters and words into a box. And this would obviously be very difficult for a person who has low vision.
Look for more coverage on this issue in the months ahead. Good news on where home sales are heading. NAR's latest pending home sales report shows contract signings were up a sharp 6.1% in May, suggesting an increase in closed transactions in the months ahead. What's behind the gain? NAR Chief Economist Lawrence Yun points to an increased number of homes available for sale, continued low interest rates, and other factors too.
The rise in pending contracts are being accompanied with rise in inventory, and therefore we may be moving into a virtuous cycle of more homes for sale leads to increased sales activity, and increased sales activity encourages other potential home sellers to come out to the market and list their homes.
The big question, of course, is whether those contract signings will result in closed sales. We'll learn that in the months ahead. The next existing home sales report, which covers actual closed sales, comes out July 22nd, and we'll be watching that closely. Has mortgage insurance got you down? Well, first-time home buyers could see some relief from mortgage insurance premiums under a pilot program of the Federal Housing Administration. The pilot is called HAWK, or Homeowners Armed with Knowledge, and it would reduce mortgage insurance premiums for people who complete housing counseling sessions and who make their payments on time. NAR says it's a great idea, but it simply doesn't go far enough. NAR's Sarah Young has been working with FHA on the issue and says NAR wants to see some changes.
NAR encourages FHA to consider across-the-board reductions in mortgage insurance premiums for all qualified home buyers. FHA could still offer additional mortgage insurance premium reductions through the HAWK program for first-time home buyers. But the program would be most successful if these home buyers have ready access to housing counseling agencies and also housing counseling fees that they can actually afford.
Look for more on this as FHA's HAWK program takes off. Should you have to pay to access the internet? NAR doesn't think so, and that's why it backs legislation to permanently ban so-called internet access taxes. These are taxes levied by state and local governments on internet service providers, the companies that bring the internet into your home or office. And right now, the taxes are banned only until November 1st. NAR's Evan Lydiard explains why an internet access tax ultimately would hurt consumers and the way realtors market homes and otherwise do their business on the internet.
This issue started way back when the internet was new, in the late 1990s. State and local governments have traditionally had within their purview the ability to tax telecommunication services. And in the early days of the internet, almost everybody accessed it through dial-up. Therefore, we already started seeing some state and local governments taxing it at the time Congress passed a ban on such taxes. Now, that ban only lasted 7 years, and then in 2007 it was extended for another 7 years.
The good news is the House Judiciary Committee just passed legislation to make the access tax ban permanent. NAR has let lawmakers know it supports the permanent ban and is encouraging them to pass it before the November 1st deadline. And that's our show for the week of July 13th. Real insights from your nation's Realtors. Join us right here in the coming weeks as we bring you the latest news on the voice for real estate.